Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the hidden stories in corporate filings. And guess what? Today we have a real gem that promises to be a wild ride with more red flags than a matador's dream. This is Jingbo Technology Inc.'s quarterly report for the period ending May 31, 2025. And folks, it's a roller coaster of finances and some very unique business practices. Let's dive straight into the balance sheet, a snapshot of the company's financial health. At a given moment as of May 31, 2025, Jingbo Technology had total assets of a little over $12.3 million, keeping in mind that's a slight increase from February, where it was just shy of $12.2 million. The company's total liabilities, however, are a different story, standing at a massive $36 million in May 2025, up from $35.2 million in February. This means Jingbo Technology owes a lot more than it owns a classic signal of financial strain. And what about the owner's stake? Well, that's where things get really interesting, because as of May 2025, the company has a total deficit in stockholders' equity of nearly $23.7 million. This deficit has actually grown from February, when it was around $23 million. In simple terms, the owner's stake has shrunk, which is never a good sign. Now let's look at how this translated into actual operations. The statement of operations tells us about the company's performance over a period. The company brought in $1,461,600 and in 46 $30 in net revenues in the 3 months ending May 2034 in the same period in 2024. That sounds promising, right? But hold on, their cost of revenues was actually higher in 2024 at over $512,000 compared to just over $330.25. This significant drop in costs while revenue increased could be a sign of improved efficiency. But it also means they're spending less on the actual services they provide, which sometimes impacts quality. Because of this, the company went from a gross loss of over $203,000 in 2024 to a gross profit of $127,600, and frankly, a bit surprising given the cost reductions. However, even with this turnaround, the company still reported a net loss of over $400,000 in the 3 months ending May 2025. That's an improvement from the $1.2 million loss in the same period of 2024, but still a loss nonetheless. Their weighted average number of shares outstanding jumped dramatically from over 1 in 2025 compared to a negative 0.001 in 2025 compared to a negative 0.23 in 2025. That's an improvement from the $1.2 million loss in the same period of 2024, but still a loss nonetheless. Their weighted average number of shares outstanding jumped dramatically from over 5 million in 2024 to over 5 million in 2024 to over 55 million shares in 2025, compared to a negative 0.03 in 2024. The cash flow statement shows us where the money is actually coming from and going. In the 3 months ending May 2025, Jingbo Technology generated $6,001 from its core operations. This is a stark contrast to the $471,911 they generated in the same period last year. A huge drop in cash from operations is a serious red flag. Their investing activities used up $4,821 in 2025, a tiny amount compared to the $71,179 used in 2024. This suggests they are not investing much back into the business, which could hinder future growth. Financing activities provided $32,172 in 2025 and $176 in 2024. These amounts are small and primarily seem to come from related parties, which, as we'll see later, is a significant part of their financial story. Now, here's a crucial part: the company's own assessment of its ability to stay in business. They admit to significant net losses and a growing deficit, and state that their ability to continue as a going concern is dependent on long-term loans and the director Goe Jong meeting their obligations. This sounds like they are hoping for a miracle or a bailout. The report explicitly states substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue as a going concern. This means there's a real possibility the company might not survive the year without a major financial injection or a drastic change in fortune. The company also details its variable interest entities, or VIEs. These are complex structures used often in China to get around foreign investment restrictions. Essentially, Jingbo Technology controls these entities through contracts rather than ownership. The financial data for these VIEs is quite telling. Group 1 shows total assets of over $12 million, but with liabilities of over $35 million, a similar story of owing more than owning. Group 2 for Xingxi shows assets of about $22 million, but liabilities a staggering $21.7 million. And by Adelaide release a staggering $21.7 million. And for Group 2, liabilities are actually almost 98% of their assets. The VIEs are drowning in debt collectively. When we look at the income for these values, Group 1 has revenues of $461,630, but a net loss of $301,659. Group 2 has no revenues, but still incurs costs and a net loss of $602. These VIEs are not generating profits, they are bleeding money. The company also discusses its segment reporting, breaking down its business into parking fee, winery sales, and others. The parking fee segment generated revenue and a gross profit, but the winery sales is a new segment with revenue but also costs, implying it's not yet profitable. The others segment also brought in revenue but seems to be a major drain on administrative costs. The parking operation seems to be the only part of the business generating any real revenue, but it's not enough to cover all the costs. And the net results for the parking segment are a huge loss, over $452,000 for the period ending May 2025, which is far worse than the loss in the prior year. This directly contradicts the earlier statement about increased revenue helping the situation. But the most fascinating part of this report is the extensive details on related party transactions. The company owes money to and is owed money by various shareholders and entities controlled by them. For example, they owe over $2.2 million to Gao Weizhong, who's also the president, CEO, CFO, and secretary of the company. This close tie between management and ownership with significant financial flows is a major area of concern. It also mentions agreements with Beijing Jingbo for loans that have been restructured and transferred multiple times. This complex web of related party dealings raises questions about the true nature of these transactions and whether they are truly arm's length. Also mentions agreements with Beijing Jingbo for loans that have been restructured and transferred multiple times. This complex web of related party dealings raises questions about the true nature of these transactions and whether they are truly arm's length. The company's reliance on related parties for financing and the complexity of these arrangements suggest a lack of independent financial stability. The company's statement about going concern is particularly alarming. They acknowledge substantial doubt about their ability to continue operating due to their financial performance and the need for external financing, even from related parties. This isn't just a minor hiccup, it's a serious declaration that without help they might not make it. So what does this all mean? Jingbo Technology Inc. is in a precarious financial position. They have significant debt, a growing deficit, and are not generating enough cash from operations to sustain themselves while they show a gross profit improvement. It's largely driven by cost reductions, not core business strength. The extensive related party transactions and the explicit mention of substantial doubt about their going concern status paint a picture of in the NDNA section. Really clashes with the stark numbers presented elsewhere. In my opinion, Jingbo Technology is a high-risk venture. The core parking business appears to be underperforming significantly, and the entry into winery sales is unlikely to offset the overall financial distress. The sheer amount of debt and the reliance on related party loans are warning signs of potential financial engineering rather than sustainable organic growth. The fact that they are on the brink of not being able to continue as a going concern is the most critical takeaway here. Investors should be extremely cautious. What's your take on Jingbo Technology's future? Will they manage to turn things around, or is this a company on its last legs? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this breakdown valuable, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel reach more people, and hey, if you want more of these deep dives into corporate filings, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Also, come join our community on Discord. The link is in the description for even more discussions and insights. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.